That was fun, by the way. I'm looking forward to this one. We're going to have a good time. Hi, Tiff.
Hi, Jim.
I'm getting Instagram going right now.
Okay.
Waiting for Instagram. There it goes. And we're live on Instagram. Hi, Tiff.
Hey.
Hi there, folks. Welcome to our live stream. This is the weekly Dr. Tiff and Jim live stream talking about the field grade system. And I'm really excited about today, Tiff. I'm really, really excited about that. We had an amazing live stream last week.
Yes, I agree.
And I think today will be nothing short of the same. So, folks, welcome to this live stream. My name is Jim, and I used to be a type 2 diabetic. And I love saying that I used to be a type 2 diabetic because I did. I used to be. I've reversed it. If you don't like the word reversal, use remission. I don't care. I'm not a big fan of the word cure. But whatever you want to say, I just don't have it anymore. And my endocrinologist says I don't have it anymore. And that's, I guess, the one that matters the most to me. So I just don't have it anymore. So stick around for this live stream. We're going to talk about what I did to achieve that. And we're going to back it up with an actual medical doctor talking about it. And I'll let her introduce herself here.
Oh, now. Okay. Hey. So I am actually a real medical doctor, board certified in family and lifestyle medicine. And I just literally got tired of writing prescriptions, bottom line. And so after practicing for 20 years in urgent care, then telemedicine, and then the last 3 years seeing people in 48 states across the U.S. suffering with things like what Barbecue Jim has and high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and struggling with that weight around the middle became a no-brainer. There's got to be something else. And so I started getting on social media talking about all these things you can do with your lifestyle changes, which we'll go into later. And I ran across somebody, a mutual friend of ours, that was like, hey, have you heard about these products? And I started using them for myself. I was able to get off of my blood pressure medicine, stopped having my hot flashes. And then I shared them with my family, helped my brother get out the ICU and get off his insulin and his Trulicity and his metformin, all these things. And then so many others, right, Jim? Because what I hear you've even helped hundreds of people actually improve their A1Cs to where they would even call them reverse themselves.
That's funny because it's kind of become a catchphrase to my live stream is I used to have type 2 diabetes. And I get people that come into my live stream now that say, I used to have type 2 diabetes too. And in fact, I would say that number is no less than 100 people.
Wow.
And that's super cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And it's kind of become a thing. So, yeah, it is super cool. And I think what's most exciting about this is, you know, I build a lot on the emotion of we get lost and hopeless. We feel like we've let me think. We feel like we're just losing control of our health. And the next thing, you know, we're just going to need more medication and we're not doing enough with our diet. We're not doing the right things. And you start to begin to feel hopeless.
Yep.
And I think the best thing about this entire experience is that we find people finding hope. And that really has become the coolest thing of all. And Dr. Tiff, you mentioned my health. I had a 12.2% A1C. It's now a completely unmedicated 4.8% A1C.
Awesome.
I had a 459 LDL, which is just through the roof. You're going to talk about, she talks about the triglycerides divided by HDL ratio. That's kind of a insulin resistance score. And I'll let Dr. Tiff go into that. But when she's talking about that, know that mine was 25.5.
Whoa.
Yeah. Whoa. And so I'm completely unmedicated now and I'm living my best life. All of my numbers are normal. I'm a healthy human being right now.
Wow.
And so there's hope. That's the biggest takeaway from this. I think if there's nothing else that you and I achieved tonight, Dr. Tiff, it's that I hope that somebody walks away from this with hope that there is a possibility, right? Mm-hmm. And so to that point, if you have been invited into this live stream, if you just got some notification on your Facebook or somebody shared this YouTube with you or you're watching us on TikTok, stick around for an hour. Somebody cares about you. Somebody thought that the information that's in this could benefit you in one way or the other. Okay, so stick around. We're only an hour long. It's not the worst thing in the world. Tiff is amazing. You just got to kind of deal with me. Enjoy it. Learn something. Knowledge is power, right? Maybe this live stream is, I don't believe in coincidences. Maybe this live stream is what you meant to hear. And so If at the end of this you decide, hey, I want to try this, just get with the person who invited you here, and they will get you straight away. And if you just stumbled across this live stream, we're on right now like 15 different platforms. We're live on TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. We're live on a lot of different platforms. If you just stumbled across this, just get with either Dr. Tiff or myself, and we'll get you straightened away. We'll get you pointed in the right direction, okay? And more than that, if you are somebody who is having an amazing experience, if you are one of the people that's like, man, I have hope, and I want somebody else to have hope. If that is you, then share this.
Yes.
This is a great platform to do that. And it's something I never talk about, Dr. Tiff, is the referral. The referral discount. If you refer this out and somebody else orders using your link, you'll get a $10 product credit. You can start lowering the price of your subscription and make it more affordable to yourself just by helping somebody else. That's super cool. So if you are having that amazing experience, then share this with them. Put it out here. And to do that on Facebook, you'll just type that little @ symbol and start typing somebody's name, Dr. Tiffany. And as soon as they pop up, hit enter. And they're now tagged in the live stream. It's so easy. I do want to add, I keep on forgetting, HSA and FSA approved.
Yes.
So health savings account, flex savings account, it's approved. So you can use those funds to purchase this if you should decide you want to do that. So anyway, Doctor, I believe we've got some amazing testimonials here.
We do. We do. And what I love is we have people, you know, they aren't like us. That's all excited to be behind the camera and in everybody's face. They're people with real stories. So I'm so excited. I'm especially excited for this one coming. And oh, hey, Sherry, that's one of my newest people that have been using the products and so excited and using the referral program. That's what I'm talking about. But anyway.
Yeah.
So my mom, I actually talked her into being able to come on this show. This is all out her comfort zone. But because of all the stuff she's been having and the reality that she's going to reach a whole different demographic, you know, that's the whole point of why we do what we do is we need each other to reach so many other people. And her story is powerful. So I'm going to move myself out the way and give the stage to my mom, Lenore Reed, as she shares.
Thanks, Jim, for having me. And of course, my daughter who made me do this. I'm really out of my comfort zone. Tiffany introduced this product to me, and she came and she said she wanted me to start taking this product. And I'm a very skeptical person, but my daughter is, once she gets passionate about something, she researches, she looks at the science, and so I knew it was something that I should try. I started taking the product maybe about a week before I had my first labs, but my labs had already been scheduled. And when I did come in as a type 2 diabetic for the first time, 6.6. And my doctor, of course, wanted to immediately put me on some medication. And I told him, hold up for a minute. Let me give me a little while, because I knew I had started this product. And I just said, can you just give me a little time, and then we can go from there. And he agreed. I did end up coming down to 6.2. I lost 20 pounds. I am known, I do have MS, and I've been diagnosed with that for a few years, for quite a few years.
Decades.
Okay. And I noticed that the energy level, oh my goodness, the energy I normally having MS, when it was hot, my energy I didn't have too much energy. Now I have the energy. One of the other symptoms I had, my leg used to drag, and it drag, and I love wearing heels. So I still wear the heels and my leg would still drag, but what happens is I end up falling or tripping. So I said, I better stop. I just better stop using heels, even though I really wanted to. But now, now I can lift up my leg and I'm back to my heels again. So, and I play pickleball. I just feel in great shape. I introduced this product. My other daughter and her husband, they're taking the product now. And that was the first thing they said, wow, the energy is just unbelievable. I know Tiffany did talk about her father, my husband. I used to, when he went to work, I used to give him, he used to have a medicine case, I guess, and it would be split up with breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I'd make sure I put all his medicine there. He had type 2 diabetes. He also had high blood pressure. He did have 3 strokes. When I put all the medicines in there, had it all laid out for him. All he had to do was go to work and just take them at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. He would come home most of the time and hadn't taken them at all. He did not like medicines, so I know this was really, and I had to watch his decline. So that's one of the reasons why I just pushed through that comfort zone, because I needed to. I wanted people to know about this product. Um, and I think I'm doing pretty good. A 73-year-old woman, I think I'm doing pretty good now, and I feel great, you know.
Yes, ma'am.
and um, and that's basically it. I do thank my daughter for introducing this product to me. There's so many things that I just can't remember what it has done. You know, I just feel really great today. So that's it.
That's
First
great.
off, I don't believe 73 at all. I think 53.
Yes.
I told you he'd
You're
do it.
amazing.
Thank you.
No.
Yes, you do.
I didn't know the MS part. I didn't know that part. And so I'm actually quite fascinated with that, because I've actually seen people get onto this program who have MS, and a lot like you, they're like, man, such an improvement. I have energy back. One person in particular doesn't live too far from me here. And he was like, man, I started taking walks every day just around the neighborhood. And that was something that he hadn't done for the longest time. And then you start exploring the connection between insulin resistance and multiple sclerosis, and there's definitely a connection there. And so seeing people with that's amazing. I didn't know about that connection. In fact, I didn't know about any of the connections, but I think I've heard Dr. Tiff mention that she got you off your medications, or that you reverse type 2. So I'm getting over here on the TikTok. No way she looks 70. And Elise over here, you're aging gracefully. That's one way to put it.
I feel.
Thank
Okay,
you.
I'm going to shut up because I talk too much, but I love that. I love every piece of that. So you are a Dr. Tiff. 6.6 is type 2. 6.2 is pre, right?
Yeah, this pre.
That is a complete reversal of type 2 diabetes, off medications, was never even on medications, did that without medication.
Yeah, refused to take them, and still working. So the goal is to be all the way off, but I love the wins. I congratulate every win.
Yeah. Real quick, Lenore, I know I just said I was going to shut up, but real quick, what's the difficulty level? How hard was this to do?
Oh, actually, it really wasn't. Once Tiffany told me about it, the Unimati, I was amazed, because I love to eat. I love to eat. And when she said I have to fast to a certain point, actually, when I was drinking that Unimati, when all of a sudden I said, okay, I'm hungry now. So I said, no, I'll drink the Unimati. And it actually took that craving away. Sometimes now I'll go, 17, 18, 19 hours, because I'm constantly sipping on it. When I take the balance, I get full. In fact, my body won't let me, it won't let me overeat, really, when I do the balance. I don't know. That's it. That's what it does. It does not let me overeat. And trust me, like I said, I'm a skeptic. Every little thing you tell me, I'm not going to believe it. But it's amazing. I know it just makes me feel better.
Well, you are getting a lot of loves. I don't think people are believing Mother here, Tim. I don't believe it. She looks very good. Over on TikTok, Betty is saying, I'm hoping this protocol helps me look that great at 72. Amazing.
Oh, that is so sweet.
Yeah.
I love that.
Thank you.
Okay, Tiff, I will shut up now. I said I was going to shut up.
Yes.
What do you got, Tiff? This is your mom.
Yes, it is my mom. And you know what? She was the skeptic. She was the one asking all the questions as if she didn't realize I went to medical school. So, yes, she trusted me, but I had to show her everything. And the whole MS part of this, which I think is really cool, is that's an autoimmune condition to where your body's attacking itself. And MS, multiple sclerosis, is attacking the brain. And we know our gut plays such a huge role in those autoimmune conditions. So I know that whole increasing the fiber, feeding, that whole microbiome is huge in these autoimmune conditions that we're seeing people have better results. And I love it because the main medication to treat autoimmune conditions are pretty much a shotgun. They're immunosuppressants. They shoot down your immune system. So who wants to do that? We need something else out there that can actually help these conditions where people are suffering. So I love my mom was one of those people that I said, I need you to do this because I need to see you get better because there's so many people out there struggling without an answer. So happy you got on here today.
Okay, so one other thing, and you kind of just said something that it connected with me, right? Wait a minute. The doctor, the medically trained doctor who knows there's something here, goes to her mother and says, hey, I think you should try that. And mother is skeptical. I think that's probably people who are on this. There are so many people who are on this that are like, man, this is the best thing in the world. What happened? I've been sick and I don't have to be, right? They start seeing these things and they tell somebody about it. And that person's like, no, I'll just go ahead and keep doing this. They're skeptical. And I think it's funny that the medically trained doctor tells her mother this and gets kind of the same thing. So if you are at home and you're telling somebody about this and they're kind of, blowing you off a little bit, Lenore, you know what? You're not alone. Everybody has that. But Lenore, I guess I'm going to ask this question at the end of the live stream. I'm going to ask it right now. What do you say to that person? To that person who is skeptical, what would you say to them right now?
All you need to do is just try it. It's a 90-day guarantee, so you can't lose. That's and so,
Yeah.
Okay, Lenore, the way that I like to do this, the way we like to do this, I say the way that we like to do this is I've got control of your phone basically as a camera. I'm just going to turn it off. I'm going to ask you to stay backstage for us. And at the end of the live stream, I would love to bring you back out with Dr. Tiffany to take any questions that anybody might have of you. I get the feeling it's mostly going to be, how old are you really? But would you mind hanging out and waiting for us for the end of the live stream?
I don't mind.
Love it. Thank you for your story, Lenore. We'll talk to you here in a little bit.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mom.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mom.
Now, my mom is like my buddy. That's why people have seen her because I bring her with me everywhere. Who doesn't love to hang out with her mom? Especially now she can wear her heels again and be cute.
Be cute. So you mentioned autoimmune, and we've had people in here talk about lupus and other autoimmune things. Dr. Tiff, how is this working? How do we get to type 2 diabetes, reversal, and MS relief in the symptoms? And how do we do this? What's happening here?
Yes.
She's my buddy too.
Oh, wait a minute. I know who that is. Hey.
You know who that is?
I got a feeling I know who that is. All righty. So the problem. And, we're going to keep talking about this problem because it is the problem. The problem is, based upon this Tufts University study back from 2022, cardiometabolic health is a problem for 93% of Americans. Only 7% of Americans are actually healthy. So, and then the medication that we as providers prescribe, the statin medications, the number one prescribed drug, only decreases your cardiovascular risk by 1%. But if you make the lifestyle changes, you can actually improve your metabolic risk by 39%. And so when we talk about things like cardiometabolic health, everybody's like, well, what are we talking about? Well, one of the biggest conditions are actually diabetes. And 30.3 million people have diabetes. And that's 1 out of 10 people. And then 1 out of 4 people don't even know they have it. Okay. And then before that is prediabetes. Oops. Okay, I got too happy. Prediabetes, and that's 84.1 million people. 9 out of 10 don't know they have it, okay? But the big kicker here, the reason why I keep getting up every day talking about this is that heart disease is still the number one killer. Okay, how long does this need to be the number one killer for us to actually make some real changes? That whole low fat diet, the margarine, all that fake stuff, all those processed things did not help us, and we're still in the same place. So that means something we were doing wasn't right. So 20 years ago, I decided, I want to be a doctor. I want to actually save people, help people, armed with my stethoscope and my white coat, right? And I went into private practice and I ended up prescribing all these medications. And to me, my patients look like this lady right here, okay, with this whole arm full of medications, okay? And so I decided there's got to be more than this. And I wanted to get at the root causes of these issues. We cannot be bound by these conditions. I refuse to believe that. I refuse to believe that type 2 diabetes is the end all diagnosis. That's it. You got to take medications forever. Same thing with blood pressure, cholesterol. I refuse it. You know why? There's data to show it. Not just because I feel it. It's data to prove this, right? So I believe our body, our genetics is actually, you can actually liken that to a land you've been given. So if you till the land well, correct your lifestyle, make some good choices, you can make some great fruit, right? You can yield some good crop. But if you treat your land like crap, your body like crap, then you're going to yield crap, okay? So over half of the people in the world struggling with insulin resistance, and that's the heart of this whole metabolic health. And if you notice, heart disease, cancer, fatty liver, all that's around this insulin resistance, okay? PCOS, erectile dysfunction, migraines, and there's even more that's not on here. So when we talk about those conditions, it's important for us to understand the symptoms, know the warning signs, because insulin resistance actually occurs 10 to 20 years before some of those conditions occur. That's why I have people that'll be like, my A1C is normal. So I know I don't have any problems with insulin resistance. Not true. Or my A1C is normal and I feel bad. I know something else is there, but I keep going to the doctor and they say everything's fine. Well, most doctors aren't checking insulin resistance. You know how I know? I'm a family practice. I was family practice for 20 years. And so I was the first line of defense, the one to check those labs. And then your cholesterol panel, like Jim was alluding to earlier, that's a way to get a crude understanding of your insulin resistance score. And your triglycerides on your lipid panel, your HDL, your LDL, your total cholesterol, they can all be normal. But that ratio from your triglycerides divided by your HDL, if that is greater than 1.5, you are dealing with insulin resistance. Now, if you're developing skin tags, that's actually a sign that insulin's too high and is making these skin tags, these flaps of skin on your neck, on your arm, under your arm, on your face, on your belly, okay? And then even the dark patches of skin. And then you have the cravings for sugar and salty, the difficulty to lose weight, the irregular cycles, polycystic ovarian syndrome, the leading cause of infertility for women. Erectile dysfunction, those man boobs or that dad bod, those aren't signs that your body's doing okay. High blood pressure, feeling tired after meals, the itis, those are signs you are dealing with insulin resistance. And so what is insulin resistance? Now, of course, a lot of us understand insulin being a hormone that, our grandmother or auntie injected, but insulin is a hormone our body already makes. And it has lots of functions, but we're going to talk about its function in delivering energy, the glucose you eat, into your cells. And then if it doesn't get it into the cells to be used, it'll store that excess glucose as fat, but it's there to regulate the blood sugar levels. So think of insulin as this little black man trying to push glucose into the liver, the muscle, the fat, to make it be used, okay? Well, over time, if your cells have decided, I'm done, I'm not listening to insulin because there's been too much sugar, and we'll go into that. If there's too much glucose around the cells and your body has to release too much insulin, you end up becoming resistant, and that little black man can't get that glucose into the cells. And so a lot of times that's based upon the carbohydrates we're eating. So when you see this is a global nutrient database, and over 3/4 of the world actually have a lot of carbohydrates. That's 3/4, not over 3/4 of the world. People of the world, about 3/4 of their diet is carbohydrates, okay? Protein breaks down into glucose, fat, not so much at all. So that plays a huge role in this. So here's a nice little graph to kind of get an idea of what happens. So when you first wake up in the morning, your insulin level is its lowest because you've been sleeping all night and you haven't been eating. So your insulin has been low. There's no reason to release insulin. It comes out when there's some glucose it needs to push into the cells, okay? So you have your carbohydrate meal. And if you're doing what you've been told to do, because we were told breakfast is the most important meal of the day with cereal and oatmeal and all these carb heavy things, you may eat something carb heavy, and that's going to kick up your insulin level. And then, you're going to get that slump because your sugar then drops because insulin had to like shoot up high to bring that sugar down. And now your sugar has a slump and you're like, I'm hungry again. And you get a snack. Most times the things we grab, they aren't going to be your protein snacks or your veggies. They're usually something carbohydrate rich. Okay. Then lunch comes around and, if you're at the job, sometimes it's a sandwich, it's pizza, carbohydrates again. That's going to kick up your insulin level again. Then your afternoon snack and then your dinner. Then your dessert. You see where I'm going? And then at the end of the day, your insulin doesn't get a chance to come all the way down. So you're bathing your cells in that high insulin. And over time, they're like, forget this. I'm not listening. That's the problem. So another part of the problem is that our carbs have been stripped of their fiber. Okay. So when we look at the white rice, that doesn't have hardly any fiber in there. We needed our fiber. Fiber was there to protect us. And so we're missing that. Why do we need it? It helps with our digestive system. It helps with weight management, helps us feel full longer. And then it also decreases the insulin that your pancreas has to release for that food you're eating. And I like to say it's not your fault entirely. We had a great call last night talking about sugar and food addiction because the modern day food environment, Big Food, has been really trying to play with us. This stuff and these processed foods that's packaged, boxed, and barcode has additives in it, has colors in it, has a high level of sugar that it kicks up our dopamine. And you know what? We want that hit again and again and again. That's why we feel like we can't eat just one. That's why sometimes we eat the whole package of cookies. It's designed that way. So they sell more stuff. And what did that do? That kicked up our sugars, then kicked up our insulin. And what? Insulin resistance. So this is what I say. 5 things you can do immediately. And so one is really trying to focus on your protein and veggies. And once you do that, you'll actually eat less carbs. So you don't even have to focus on doing low carb. Just focus on your protein and your veggies. So for my people who are like, don't give me restrictions, I don't want to hear restrictions, then focus on protein and veggies first. And by the time you've had your protein and veggies, you're not going to want many carbs anyway. Okay. Now, the only thing I will restrict, nobody needs to be eating those processed carbs on the slide earlier. Nobody. That's not helping anybody. In fact, I saw a last state on April 29th talking about not only are the processed foods killing us, but the packaging it's in is killing us too. So yeah, leave that alone. Okay. 3, doing resistance training. Now, if you aren't doing any activity at all, then just some movement is good. But yes, we do want to use those muscles because it brings the glucose into the cells from being in the bloodstream. Okay. And then fiber. Having more of the fiber, like I said before, it actually dampens that carbohydrate spike, and thus it would dampen the insulin spike. And so it would allow your cells to become more insulin sensitive, plus it helps you feel full longer. And there's some great studies on having more fiber actually being good for type 2 diabetes, being good for cholesterol. That stuff is already there. And then time-based eating, intermittent fasting. If you literally take a break on eating, it's amazing how many benefits you get. I mean, we shut down our computers. We shut down our smartphones. We shut down our smart TVs because actually everything needs a break, right? But if you're able to fast over 16 to 17 hours, you can tap into autophagy where you start getting cellular cleanup, cellular repair. And if you fast even longer, and if you're able to do so with the products we like, you can even tap into immune healing, immune improvement, which is huge. And then, of course, you start boosting your growth hormone, and that's how you can age backwards, like people are saying my mom is doing. That's the stuff we're seeing happening. So now we already have GLP-1. Okay, this is a hormone we already have. So if there are things that are going to make those 5 things easier, boosting your GLP-1 is one of them. The GLP-1 hormone is something our stomach makes. It actually comes from the gut. Okay, and that actually gets messed up with the foods we eat, the processed foods. That's not managing our stress, not managing our sleep, those types of things, right? Our health. But the reason why we like this hormone is because it reduces cravings. It helps you, slows down digestion, and it actually balances your blood sugar. So having this is important. Having this functioning well is important. And Big Pharma figured this out. And that's when they started making these shots. You got Ozempic, Wegovy. They were first made for diabetics, but then they said, oh my gosh, so many people are losing weight. We got to make the weight loss formulations. But what they do is they bind to a receptor to pretend like they are your GLP-1 hormone. And so it has all these crazy side effects. I like to call it baggage. All these things that come with the medications, like every medication. Things like gut paralysis. I kind of need my gut to move, right? So do you. Gut perforation, a hole in your gut. Thyroid cancer. There's so many things. And then because you end up losing muscle and bone, if you use these products for more than a year, that's a problem too. Because if you do gain that weight back, what are you going to gain back? More fat. You've lost muscle, so now you're going to be gaining more fat back, which is huge. That's a problem. And then after 2 years, one of the big things is that it decreases cravings. After 2 years, it stops doing that. So it doesn't help you with the same results, and you need more medications, or you need a different medication. That's what I got caught up in. So why not boost our GLP-1 naturally? Good thing with the Unamate, the yerba mate that we use, it actually boosts it naturally. So it can help with curbing the cravings and actually allowing you to have, satiety where you feel full longer, okay? And energy. And of course, why do I speak up? A real medical doctor who's double board certified, y'all. I'm somebody who actually could be doing something else all day long, but I've seen the studies. I've seen the science on how things like the chlorogenic acid, the ferulic acid, the theobromine, the saponins, those things actually increase our GLP-1. But the theobromine helps with the mood. The chlorogenic acid acts like metformin. I mean, there's so many great things. And Jim may even go into this today. Your short-chain fatty acids and how that actually makes a product that decreases inflammation. Okay, yeah, I can keep talking forever. And then we get results. We get people. I got to tell you about what's happening. I mean, even somebody on the call, she texted me not too long ago talking about her great results after being on a product shoot for less than a week. And we just get to see more people with these results. And it makes life just so much more fun, playing a role in people's lives. And so this whole superhero doc thing is starting to feel for real. I was kind of playing, when I first did this, but I'm really loving this. I'm really loving my life now. So anybody who actually wants to see where I am, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Facebook, Dr. Tiffany Marie. And I love doing this. And back to you, Jim.
I love the super woman. I love it. I love it. Hey, you know what? You mentioned something, and I think we talk about it every week, but you've got me going down a path today of that heart disease is the number one cause of death and has been for quite a while. And it's not moving. It's staying in that number one spot. And we talk a lot about the diabetes side of things, the blood glucose, but really balance, which is also called BioSlife in other regions of the world. It was actually developed for cholesterol, for heart health. Mm-hmm. Homocysteine. Mm-hmm. What can you tell us about homocysteine, briefly in a short little thing here? I think everybody knows about cholesterol levels, but maybe they don't know about homocysteine levels.
Well, it's a vitamin level, right? But it actually has been shown and linked to heart disease. And so having something that actually helps with that, using the homocysteine levels, increasing your homocysteine levels, actually has been shown to improve your risk for heart disease, which is helpful. And that's all I got for that right now. Jim be coming out the woodwork like I know everything. That's all I got.
No, because I can talk about it, but I think people would rather hear you. And so, yeah. Okay. I'm ready to bring out our second guest.
Yes.
And I know her, but I don't know her that well. Getting to know her, and I'm excited about this. Her name is Sage. Hi, Sage.
Hello.
How are you? Oops.
I am well. How are you?
I am good.
How are both of you?
We're great. I'm great.
What are you doing over there, Jim?
There we go. I like that. We'll just go with that.
Oh, goodness.
It's musical images. Hi, Sage.
Hello again.
Why don't you tell us? I'm sorry. During the introductions, I was just playing musical images here. Okay. So, Sage, one of my favorite things to do is ask, where were you at when you began this, and where are you at today? What is your story? Tell your story.
Yeah. So, the person that got me started on it is actually my best friend, Chelsea. She's been on it for quite some time now, and her mother-in-law got her started on it. I'm also, like Dr. Tiffany's mom, pretty skeptical, and I'm pretty stubborn as well. So she had mentioned it quite a few times of like, hey, you should try this. It's really helping. It's doing this. And I'm like, yeah, okay, sure, whatever. Like, just keep it pushing. And then sure enough, she is due any day now. She reversed her PCOS, she reversed her endometriosis, all these other health benefits. Her husband has other health benefits as well that has happened. And I'm like, okay, well, there's literal proof now. that this product works. So why not give it a try? I have struggled with IBS for years. I also have PCOS. I also have endometriosis. Um, Gained some weight, of course, with hormone changes and everything else that happens as a woman as you get older, or at least that's what they tell us. Come to find out, it's more insulin resistance, right? Um, and so I decided that I would give it a go. Like, let's give it a try. And sure enough, within one day, I already noticed it curbing my appetite. The Unimate really helped with the intermittent fasting. Like, I for sure thought, like, man, there's no way I can skip breakfast. Like, I can't do it. I was able to very easily. And then honestly, within, I think I said 2 days, I noticed it had already helped with my IBS. I also had my gallbladder removed about 2 years ago. And so I noticed it really made an impact with that when it came to the IBS issues. Um, and I've been on it for a little bit over a month now. And I would say that I hopped on a scale for the first time in a little bit and I lost 9 pounds, which I don't think I've ever lost 9 pounds in a month. And I'm not even purposely trying to. I am doing the method, I'm taking the product how it is suggested to take. And it's really improved. It's really helped. I go all morning without eating and on accident because I'm drinking the Unimate. The balance really helps me, kind of like Lenore, Dr. Tiffany's mom had mentioned. The balance really helps you feel full. I've noticed if you sip on it while you're eating instead of like right before, it helps even more. So I'm not overeating. I don't have crazy cravings. Um, yeah, that's where I'm at with it. Pretty new to the Unimate Feel Great system game, and I really like it so far.
Great. I love your results. I think they're real. I think people can understand that, and I love it. I'm so excited you shared your story.
Thank you. I'm excited to see as time continues because we're only about a month in. So even hitting that 90-day mark and continuing moving forward, what my results continue to grow and change into.
Yes.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Look at that. It only gets better.
Yeah.
You're just scraping the surface. Like what's coming down the road at you is we're, it'll get to a point where I'm drinking a Unimate right now. It is 6:30 here in Denver. And I can't, and I don't know about you, Dr. Tiff, but I can't imagine doing a live stream without a Unimate. I like the clarity that it gives me. And in case you guys can't hear it in my voice, I'm kind of wrestling with a head cold. It set in on me yesterday. And I'm a little bit congested, and there's just no way I would be myself. Mm-hmm. I had to have a Unimate. And so I'm sitting here sipping my Unimate, apple spice, even though it's not available anymore. Just that kind of, and I feel amazing. And
yes.
I will say I'm a little jealous that you can drink it at this time of evening. The natural energy that it gives me, if I don't cut that off for sipping on it throughout the day, by about 2 o'clock, I am wide awake all evening.
I think I'm just used to it.
Same here.
Okay.
I can do 2 or 3 of them. Doesn't do a thing for me. It's 7:30 for me.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, same thing to you, Sage. I would like to shut your camera off, but I'd like you to stick around backstage if you could. And I want to bring you back out at the end in case anybody has any questions for you. Does that work for you?
Sounds great.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. And so real quick, Betty over on TikTok asked, how long has this protocol been around? The protocol has been around, I think, 2019. Is that when they came up with the two products together, Tiff?
Yeah, that sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Now Balance, I'm getting ready to go into Balance, the product. I'm going to kind of dig into it. I've got time tonight to dig a little into this. So I'm going to talk about Balance, but Balance was actually developed in 1989.
Yeah. Yeah.
So 36 years Balance has been around. At the time, it was called BioSlife. And in fact, let me just dive right into that. I've got my little samples here. So this is a product called BioSlife, and made by Unicity, BioSlife. If you were in Australia, this is what your package would look like. If you were in Africa, I believe this is what your package would look like. If you were in South Korea, that is what your package would look like. If you were in Saudi Arabia, that is what your package would look like. BioSlife. Now, back to this one here, BioSlife. If you were in the United Kingdom, this is what it would look like. Balance.
Mm-hmm.
It is the same thing. BioSlife and Balance are one and the same. Okay. If you were in the United States, instead of getting this packet, you get this packet.
Mm-hmm.
A little easier for us here in the States. I guess they figured we need easier or something. I don't know. So with that in mind, I want to talk about BioSlife. So in the late 80s, Rexall Pharmacy, maybe some of you guys remember Rexall Pharmacy, they developed BioSlife. And what their thought was, hey, let's develop something that would help with cholesterol levels and homocysteine levels.
Mm-hmm.
And so that takes me to, let me see here. I want to go share my screen. Let's go here. So if I go over to Google and just ask Google, what is the top heart hospital in the United States? Just their little AI says the top ranked heart hospital in the United States, according to U.S. News and World Report, is Cleveland Clinic. You scroll down, you'll see that there. And if you go to the actual report, this is what it says. Best hospitals for cardiology, heart, and vascular surgery. And it ranks Cleveland Clinic number 1 with a perfect score of 100 out of 100. Now in 2024, Statista did a similar little thing, and they actually ranked Cleveland Clinic as number 2, right behind the Mayo Clinic and Mass General, right in front of Mass General. So no matter how you slice it, most people, and of course I'm going to lean to Dr. Tiffany, and of course she'll be biased, but Dr. Tiff, would you agree that the Cleveland Clinic is the top heart hospital in North America, or at least one of?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, that's entirely true.
So let's talk about Balance. What is Balance? And this is the product sheet for Balance. And as you scroll through, it'll talk about what it's good for, but it comes down to the ingredients, the featured ingredients: Biosphere Fiber proprietary formula, Unicity 7X blend, the BIOS Cardio Matrix, and the BIOS Vitamin Complex. And so what it is, BioSlife and Balance, they are a patented blend of 7 different plant-based fibers and a multivitamin. And I say patented. There are 4 separate patents on Balance. And with that vitamin complex that's in there, the multivitamin, that's what really makes it unique. So we come over here. This is, by the way, if you're unfamiliar with PubMed, this is an official website of the United States government, National Institutes for Health. And it's a place where people can host their research. So once you've done the research, you can go and share it on PubMed, and it becomes easy for everybody else to find. This particular study right here was done in 2002. September of 2002, it was published. It was peer-reviewed. It was published, and it's been cited 20 times. It is a double-blind, placebo-controlled, randomized clinical trial. That's really, really powerful research. It was performed at the Cleveland Clinic, and it looks at a fiber and multivitamin combination therapy, the very thing that Balance is. In fact, remember how I mentioned that Balance and BioSlife are one and the same? Here's the actual study, the actual published research itself. It's right here, and you can see right down below, it has been cited 20 times. And if you click that download full issue, you can actually see the full text, which is what this is right here. Fiber and multivitamin combination therapy, a beneficial influence on low-density lipoprotein, or LDL, and homocysteine. And it was done at the preventative cardiology section of the Cleveland Clinic in 2001. It was published in 2002. And if you scroll down just a little further, The fiber tested was BioSlife 2. And you go down just a little further and you can see the actual results. Well, LDL improved, total cholesterol improved, HDL improved, kind of everything improved. And if you scroll down just a little bit further to the conclusions, you will see right here, such a product, if taken regularly, could reduce cardiovascular risk on a population basis and potentially decrease the need and or dose for lipid-lowering prescription drugs. And I always like to kind of tear that sentence apart and maybe, break it down and reword it so it's a little more user-friendly. Such a product, they're talking about BioSlife. If taken regularly, well, we take it every day, could reduce cardiovascular risk. That's another word for heart disease on a population basis. That's everybody. And potentially decrease the need and or dose for lipid-lowering prescription drugs. Those are statin medications. So let's reword that. BioSlife, if taken regularly, could reduce heart disease for everyone and potentially decrease the need and or dose for statins. As of 2019, there are 92 million Americans on statin medication therapy. Why is this a big thing? I want to pick on this study right here. Again, from PubMed Central, NIH, official website of the United States government. This was done in July of 2023. That was the publication date. You'll notice the title, Assessing the Link Between Statins and Insulin Intolerance. This is a systematic review. A systematic review is very powerful. It kind of looks at all the research that's been done. And again, you scroll down a little bit. I want to read this right here. The included studies had a total of 46,728,889 participants. The findings suggest that the use of statins is associated with a decrease in insulin sensitivity and insulin resistance. This systematic review provides evidence that the use of statins may have an adverse effect on insulin sensitivity and increase insulin resistance. And in fact, if I dig just a little bit further, here is another study. Again, we can find it on PubMed Central, statins and the risk of type 2 diabetes. And if I just scroll down here a little bit, this gets really, really interesting. Let me just scroll down. Concluding remarks. Meta-analysis of clinical statin trials to lower cardiovascular events reported an increase in the risk of diabetes by 9 to 12%, whereas in large population studies, the risk was substantially higher. In a meta-analysis of 15 observational studies, the risk of incident type 2 diabetes was 55%. In 4 individual studies, the risk of incident was from 36 to 48%. And in the United States veteran study, 21 to 22% for low and medium potency statins like pravastatin and fluvastatin, and 34% for high potency statins like simvastatin, atorvastatin, and rosuvastatin. So what we know is that statin medications cause insulin resistance. They're linked to type 2 diabetes. And we also know that the Cleveland Clinic, more than 20 years ago, suggested that BioSlife could be a potential solution. That's powerful. Now, here's the deal. They were talking about BioSlife, and a bunch of doctors like Dr. Tiffany, one of them in the back of the room said, hey, is there any other doctors that are noticing the A1Cs are dropping? One by one, their patients that are on this, the A1Cs started coming down. Let's explore that. This is the glycemicindex.com website. You'll notice it's the University of Sydney, Australia. That's because the University of Sydney, Australia is responsible for maintaining the International Glycemic Index database and website. I want to hit the About page. If you scroll to the About page and you scroll down, what is the glycemic index? The glycemic index is a ranking of carbohydrates on a scale from 1 to 100 according to the extent to which they raise your blood sugar levels. So Dr. Tiffany just told us how spiking our glucose causes that insulin to spike. That's what's causing the problem, the types of foods that we're eating. So we should be eating foods that are lower in the glycemic index and strongly avoiding foods that are high in the glycemic index. Now, also on the About page, it talks about her. Her name is Professor Jenny Brand Miller. She's an internationally recognized authority on carbohydrates and the glycemic index with over 250 scientific publications. She's number one. She knows a thing or two about the glycemic index. And I'm beating that drum because Dr. Jenny Brand Miller studied the effects of a fiber-rich nutritional supplement, BioSlife Slim. This is her at the University of Sydney, Australia, for Unicity. Now, in this study, she looked at the glycemic index of 3 common starchy foods: white rice, white bread, and mashed potato. And if you are a type 2 diabetic, you know what those foods do to your sugar. They always spike your sugar. Well, in this study, she found that in each case, every single time, it lowered the glycemic index from high to medium. And in layman's terms, what that means is it took a bad food and made it better. Simply put, it took something that you should strongly avoid and made it a little bit better. Okay, we still shouldn't have it probably every single day, but it took a bad food and made it better. Now, she studied it a second time, and the second time she studied it, you'll notice this is July of 2011, she gave test patients white bread. And we have white bread every single day of the week, 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, dinner. It's a 100 on the glycemic index. It spikes your sugar awful. She gave test patients either 1 or 2 servings of BioSlife. With 1 serving, she observed a 20% reduction in blood glucose, and with 2 servings, a 28% reduction. Those are massive numbers. More importantly, since Dr. Tiffany has shown us that it's the insulin we're concerned with, 1 serving was a 13% reduction and 2 servings was a 27%. So when I go out to eat pizza, I take 2 balance. That's my little cheat code. If you're going to have something really bad, take 2. So with that in mind, let's talk about Unimate. What is Unimate? So I guess where I want to start with this is let's talk about this guy really quick. Dr. Ben Bickman. Go to Google and look up Dr. Ben Bickman. Dr. Benjamin Bickman is a professor of cell biology and physiology at Brigham Young University. He specializes in metabolic disorders, particularly insulin resistance. That's what this dude does. In fact, he has a website called insuliniq.com. You can join Insulin IQ, and I encourage everybody to join Insulin IQ. In fact, our lovely Dr. Tiffany is a coach for Insulin IQ. That's how good she is. We've got one of the best here. Now, Dr. Bickman has studied Unimate, and he published research on it. This study right here, again, PubMed, an official website of the United States government, looks at a yerba mate supplement. You'll notice it was Dr. Ben Bickman. Dr. Bickman is a professor of cell biology and physiology at Brigham Young University. Moreover, he's in charge of the laboratory of obesity and metabolism. And what this study found was that it really Unimate really revved up your mitochondria. It kind of put your Dr. Tiff, mitochondria is kind of like the engines of our cells, right?
Yeah, the battery. I like that.
The battery, okay. Mm-hmm. And it kind of just put them into like supercharged mode. It made you a better fat burner. I believe there are a lot of people who would love to be a better fat burner. And this research right here, done by Dr. Ben Bickman, professor of cell biology and physiology that oversees the laboratory of obesity and metabolism, he said specifically that Unimate helped. More than that, Dr. Bickman went on to say that it increases GLP-1 production.
That I'll be sharing at a meeting in March in Las Vegas is that this yerba mate supplement called Unimate also increases GLP-1. We found in this experiment we did, the GLP-1 levels went up by about 70% in the fasted states, which is pretty considerable.
So now, what have we got? We have balance, and we have Unimate the tea. So how does this work? When you order a kit, you'll get 2 of the teas per day and 1 balance per day. It's a 30-day supply. The way you start your day off is during your fast. you drink one of these. Kind of think of it as drinking your breakfast. Instead of having breakfast, drink one of these. It will kill the food noise. You won't have the food noise. It just goes away. It's the weirdest thing. We heard Lenore mention it, and we also heard Sage mention it. The fasting that they thought would be so difficult becomes easy. Unimate does that. And we can attribute that to that increase in GLP-1 as Dr. Bickman was talking about, right? The other thing is, while we're sipping on this, we are resensitizing. We're actively resensitizing ourselves to the insulin. That's what it does. It's full of something called chlorogenic acid, and chlorogenic acid has been shown to be a novel insulin sensitizer. It acts similar to metformin. It's also been shown to lower blood pressure. It's absolutely amazing. So the first thing we do is you wake up and you drink one of these. Dr. Tiff, do you have your bottle with you?
I sure do.
When you order, you're going to get a bottle just like this. And on the back of it, there is a line for Unimate, and that's what Dr. Tiff uses. She drinks it cold out of that bottle. And you can do that. Personally, I don't drink it that way. I drink it hot out of a much bigger, this is about 2 of those. And I will drink it hot. I'll put 1 packet into here with 130 degrees specifically is the temperature I like. Whatever temperature you want. You can add ice water, you can make it hot. Biggest thing you want to do is sip on it. Sip. Don't chug. Sip. Take a gradual pull. Dr. Tiffany has a lot more self-control than me. She can sip on that bottle. I chug that bottle. It's gone like that. So sip on this. When it's done, I immediately start drinking my second one. By the time it gets to lunch, in fact, I didn't eat lunch today. I blinked and I went through. I have fasted since dinner yesterday. I feel amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. It kind of just happens. Sometimes that happens. You don't have to eat. If you're not hungry, don't eat. It's amazing. So that's what we do with the Unimate. Now, immediately before your heaviest meal of the day, and that is the meal that has the most carbohydrates. So if you're going to have spaghetti, or if you're going to have a hamburger and you're going to eat the piece of white bread and the mashed potatoes or the French fries, immediately before that, mix this up in that same bottle that Dr. Tiff has. There's a little line on the back of it that says balance. Cold water this time. We're not going to do hot water. That's a mistake you'll make one time. Cold water. Give it about 7 or 8 vigorous shakes, and then pretend like you're at an old frat party in college. Down the hatch as quickly as it goes, and then enjoy your meal. And that's the best part about this, is just enjoy your meal. Don't worry about portion sizes. Don't worry about, the system will take care of that. When you're full, trust me, you'll know. You just kind of push the plate away. It makes it easier to push the plate away. And that's the entire system, guys. That's the entire system. And the way that I like to think about this is, if you went to Unicity's website and just bought the tea, a single box of that would cost $79. It's kind of expensive. It's about $3 a packet if you do it that way. If you buy 2 boxes at a time, they call it a booster pack. That's the best way to buy it. That booster pack costs $135. All of a sudden, these cost $2.25 a piece. I would argue that you can't buy a Lipton iced tea in the gas station for $2.25. I don't believe you can get through a Starbucks drive-through for $2.25. You cannot get a cup of coffee at McDonald's for $2.25. I don't think you can. Maybe I'm wrong, but $2.25 is a very reasonable price, and so we drink 2. It's $4.50. If you stretch that out over an entire month, it's $135. The kit costs $159. That means your fiber, all of the amazing benefits you get from BIOS Life Balance, cost $24. Unicity offers a 90-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, ask for a refund. They will give you all of your money back. No questions asked. I do want to add real quick, through the 15th of this month, and you have to be accepted into it, Unicity is doing a big research on A1C values. And so if you sign up and if you are accepted, they will send you an A1C kit to take before you start. And again, after you're done, after 90 days, they want to prove that it lowers A1C. That's the kind of confidence they have. They want to prove that it will lower your A1C. And there's a $150 incentive to it. So if you do it, if you stick through the entire 90 days and you do the whole process, they'll give you $150 in product credit. That's available through the 15th. If you sign up, you'll just want to call them and say, hey, I want to participate in that. And they'll put you through the questionnaire to see whether or not you qualify. Mm-hmm. They do take HSA. They do take FSA. Okay. I think I've said everything. Have I, Dr. Tiff?
You did. And with that study, it's so awesome that they've spread that out to the 15th. Even if you just order with the referral link, you'll get an email to be able to actually sign up and answer the questions and see if you qualify. It's really pretty easy.
Yeah. Look at this. Kim says best product in the world. Now, Kim was our guest. What was it? 2 weeks ago, I believe, or was it last week?
Yeah. Or was it last week?
I would encourage everybody to go watch that. She about had me in tears.
Yeah.
I heard Stuart drinks it fast. Stuart's the owner of the company. I wouldn't be surprised if he does. Some people
He can
do.
do whatever he wants.
Sherry says he's telling the truth. I'm sure she was talking about me. I think I'm the only he that was talking. So we got a few minutes here. What questions does anybody have? If anybody has any questions, have I missed one, Dr. Tiff?
Yeah, there was one question. Somebody who started the products, it's not quite a question, but started the product Saturday and couldn't sleep. And I think this was after Sage talked. Some people do have to take a little time to ease into the Unimate. So for like Sage, she stops at 2. So that's what I do for some of my people. But what happens is over time, we develop a tolerance. I'll drink 2 or 3 of those, 4 of those, and it won't affect my sleep at all. I'm still sleeping like a baby. So don't let that deter you, but stop earlier if you need to.
Sage kind of touched on that. Sage, it's kind of what you were saying.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. But I've also, I say that I've also gotten to a point to where I drink 3 teas a day now. So there's that.
So there's that little piece. And to that point, I actually drink a BioSlide. I drink a balance before each meal. I love the heart protection. I've obviously have reverse type 2 diabetes, but I love the benefit for heart health.
Yeah,
and I know what it does for my glucose control. I know that it's been proven. I wear a CGM, and the CGM tells me what it does there. But I really like just kind of adding that extra layer of heart protection.
Yep.
So I drink one before every meal, and at checkout, should you decide, you can purchase more balance at that time if you wanted to. Okay, I don't see a whole lot of questions coming in, so I want to kind of wrap it up. And I like the question. And Lenore, I've already kind of asked you, actually, what would you say to somebody who was a skeptic sitting on the fence? So I'm going to kind of transition over to Sage. Sage, you know that there are people sitting here who think this is fake well. They're sitting here saying, there's no way, this is too good to be true. What do you say to them?
I would tell you to just try it. Come talk to me. I'll give you a box. We'll see what you think after that. It's not going to hurt anything.
Yeah, because you were that person.
I was that person. 100%.
Both you and Lenore were that person. And the funny thing about you, Lenore, it's funny that her daughter is a doctor, and she is that person. Sage, I would say it's almost as funny that you saw your best friend and her mother-in-law have amazing results, and you were still that person.
Yep.
Ladies, thank you very much. I appreciate you for coming on here with Dr. Tiff and I.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Oops, wrong one. There goes Tiff.
Wrong one.
That's all right.
Tiff's like, hey. All right. Sage, thank you.
Now he took himself
He
off.
did it again.
I told you I got a head cold. I'm blaming it on that.
It's okay. It's okay. You've done awesome.
I've been pushing all the buttons, just playing camera switcheroo here.
Oh gosh.
Tiff, this is amazing. Again.
It was. I thought so too.
I am so thankful for you. And I think I speak for everybody else listening right here. We are all so thankful for you. I see over on TikTok, Keith is saying they changed your life. They saved mine in just 70 days.
Wow.
Keith, we did an interview. We had him on our live stream he might have been on live stream number 1.
Yeah.
Almost a year ago.
Definitely in the beginning.
That was a really powerful story. And Betty says over on TikTok, thank you so much. Very good info. Betty, you are welcome. Dr. Tiff, closing remarks?
Right. So just like my mom touched on, there are too many people walking around refusing to take medications. One, because they don't want the side effects. They're afraid of the side effects, or they're even afraid of the disease itself. And they think that that's their only answer and they don't want it. So they do nothing. They're what is that? Overwhelmed to inactivity. So I implore you, if that is you and you're sitting at home and you're thinking this is crazy, let this be the last crazy thing you try. How about that? Because that's so much better than leaving this earth sooner than it was planned for you to leave.
I like that. Yeah. If you've been trying everything else and nothing else is working, you got nothing to lose. I've always said this. You have nothing to lose, everything to gain. What if you took a women of prayer? What if you trusted your doctor for a daughter? What if you trusted your best friend and her mother-in-law? What if whoever it is that invited you into here, what if you realized, hey, maybe they're doing that because they think this will actually help me?
Right.
What if you did that? And what if in 90 days you're saying, oh my God, you saved my life?
Right.
Try it. You have nothing to lose, everything to gain.
Yes.
Dr. Tiff, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Appreciate you. Thanks,
See you
everyone.
guys. Have a wonderful week. We'll see you next